Hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. Come on in. I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday. Happy Teacher Appreciate. Ooh, am I there? Okay. Happy Teacher Appreciation Day if you are watching from the States. Our Teacher Appreciation Day here in Canada, I believe it's in February. I need to check that, but I know I follow a lot of teachers in the States and I've seen a lot of posts about it. So happy Teacher Appreciation Day if you are American. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. Please say hi in the chat. Let us know how your week is going, what's going well, what you find is really challenging. I was having a conversation with a teacher in the staff room today, and she was saying that she doesn't know why she's feeling so tired lately. And I feel like May is always a really tough month because it feels like the end is near, but also too, like it's really not yet. Like we still have a month and a half, maybe a little more. So yeah, we're in the final stretch. So keep carrying on. I'm so happy you're here today. I'm going to be talking to you about choosing unit topics. So I've spoken to a lot of people, and I've mentioned this a lot in my lives. I've been asking people whether they get to choose their unit topics, meaning what I mean by a unit is like a 4 to 6 week unit, as in like a theme that you're teaching in your classroom. And so a lot of people have told me that they get to choose their own themes or topics, but a lot of people don't, and they're given them by their curriculum or by the social studies curriculum. So I'd be very curious to know if you get to choose your own topics. For one, I teach in an IB school. I'm here in Montreal, Canada, but I work in an IB school, which is all over the world. And so for us, we have like specific themes we need to cover, but it's very open-ended on how we teach those themes. So I get to be very creative in the topics that I get to choose. I personally pride myself, I guess you could say, that I'm very creative in choosing topics. I really love, and I find it's one of like the joys of teaching for me, is getting to choose what world my students are going to explore for 4 to 6 weeks. So I really have a lot of fun with choosing topics. If you're not someone like that you really struggle and rack your brain with choosing topics that you want to explore, then this is the perfect live for you. Please comment in the video if you're watching this live, or even if you're watching the replay, kind of where you stand, and do you find yourself very creative, or do you find the creative side of choosing topics and choosing what your students are going to explore if you find that really challenging. So I'm going to go through the 5 steps to helping you, or 5 tips, I guess I should say, in figuring out like what topic you want to teach in your classroom. I'm also going to go over what a topic should and shouldn't do. So I'm going to cover all those things today. I'd also love to know right now what topic you're exploring in your classroom right now. I teach grades 4 and 5. So in my grade 4 class, we're exploring the Great Depression. So we're learning about the stock market, how the stock market kind of rose in the roaring 20s, and then how it crashed afterwards. So it's kind of a historical unit, but we're exploring it from like a societal angle. So they're having a lot of fun with that. And then my grade 5 unit, right now they are learning about food deserts. So like kind of what a food desert is and how they come to be. So those are the topics that I'm exploring right now. They're both topics that I thought of myself. And so I'm going to talk about like the struggles with choosing topics and kind of how to go from not sure of what you're going to do to then choosing your topics for the whole year. As I talk about a lot in my lives, my specialty is curriculum mapping. So choosing unit topics is the first step in curriculum mapping. If you're interested in learning what all the other steps are, so we're going to be exploring the first step a lot in this live today. If you're also interested in reading my latest blog post about choosing unit topics, you should go to teachingaswespeak.com/blog, and it's the first one that pops up. And then I also have my free roadmap to curriculum mapping success, where I go through all the steps to curriculum map. So you should definitely get your hands on that. It's free, and I've spent a lot of time on it and making it as elaborate as possible while also simplifying it. So let's jump in. So first I want to talk about what a unit topic should have or should do. So first, I want to say the first thing a unit topic should do is really get you, the teacher, excited about teaching the unit. You're going to be stuck with this topic for 4 to 6 weeks. So it's really important that it really gets you excited. And when you're in the process of planning out what your topics are going to be, if you're not excited within the first like 5 minutes of planning it, then can you imagine how bored you're going to be after 6 weeks of teaching it? So it's really important that you really get excited, and you'll know you're excited about teaching a topic, and you'll know it's a good one if like the ideas just start pouring out of you. That's when I get the most excited, is when I'm on a roll and I just can't stop with all the ideas that come to me. So first thing is a unit topic should really get you excited. Another thing that's really important is a unit topic should have a lot of resources that you can find online. So what I mean by that is last year I had an idea for a topic, and it was all about Generation Z and kind of like the traits of Generation Z and the stereotypes of it. And my students are a part of Generation Z, so they were very excited by it. But as I was exploring, as I was in the planning phase of like planning this unit, I noticed that it hadn't really been done before as far as I could tell. I could find like articles about it, but I couldn't find like on Teachers Pay Teachers, a Google image search. I couldn't find any teacher resources that were related to Generation Z. So, I mean, while that's really cool, because I'm like, wow, like I'm thinking of something that's very unique and I could really make this my own and make it really, really creative. It also made it that much harder because I had to think of everything from scratch. Now, I'm not one to necessarily buy units on Teachers Pay Teachers, but I often will search. If I have a topic, I'll search the topic on Teachers Pay Teachers just for inspiration. Oftentimes, sellers will list all their lessons in the description. Like, you don't even have to buy it, but it'll list all the lessons. And it kind of gives me a frame of mind of like where I could take the unit. So it makes it that much harder when you can't find anything. It makes it that much harder that you really have to think of everything from scratch. It definitely can be done, but I find it a lot harder. So it's really great if you choose a topic that has been done before. Not to say that you need to go and buy someone else's unit plan, but at least it gives you some inspiration. So that's my recommendation. So it should definitely get you excited, and there should be some resources out there. That's especially true for like if you're a class that reads a lot of like news articles. If there's not news articles or podcasts or videos that you can find on your topic, then your students won't have much to research. So definitely explore before you cement what your topics are going to be. Spend some time really digging in and researching that there is stuff out there for you and for your students. The next thing I'm going to say is what your unit topic should not be. So that was kind of what unit topics should be. Now let's talk about what they shouldn't be. Now, the number one thing is that your unit topic, and I think I mentioned this in my live last week, your unit topic should not be the title of a novel. So let's say, for example, right now, I'm reading with my students Turtle in Paradise because it's set during the Great Depression. Now, notice when I talked about this unit beforehand, I talked about that the topic was about the Great Depression. I didn't title my unit Turtle in Paradise unit because while this novel is set during the Great Depression, it's not every single activity I'm going to be doing with my students is directly related to this novel. It's more related to the specific topic of the Great Depression and the stock market and that kind of stuff. So do not make your entire unit the title of a novel. Like, for example, if you did Harry Potter, you don't want to name your topic the Harry Potter unit because that would really like pigeonhole you into everything you do related to that specific novel. Instead, if you're really dead set on choosing a novel, like let's say, for example, before I even chose the Great Depression, I really wanted to do this novel. I would think to myself, well, what topics or what themes are being explored in this novel? Because then it's a lot more broad. So I hope that makes sense. So your unit topic should not be the title of a novel. So now let's get into what What my dog is scratching at the door. Okay, so now let's go into choose kind of brainstorming. If you're really stuck and not sure what your unit topic should be, and maybe you consider yourself, like I said at the beginning, like not the most creative person, here are some ideas to help you get started. So I'm going to share 5 strategies that you could be using to choosing your unit topics for the school year. So one is just a brain dump. So what I like to do, either you could be like a pen to paper person or on a Google Doc, where you literally just brain dump every single idea you have. And now's not the time to really say like, oh, this is a crappy idea. Literally every idea you have, get it down on paper or on a Google Doc. And you'll notice that as you start, the ideas will kind of eventually snowball and you'll just get more and more and more and more. And even if they're the most garbage ideas ever, get them down anyways. The second strategy I would suggest is really listening to your students. So really paying attention to if you're free writing in class, what topics do they write about? If your students have snack in the classroom and it's like considered free time, like what topics are they talking about when it's free time in the classroom? If you're out on recess duty, what are the topics that they're talking about over and over again in their free time or with their peers? That can kind of give you some inspiration as well. So that's the second one. The third one is to use social media to your advantage. So I follow tons of great teachers on social media, like Instagram. There's so many creative ideas out there. I sometimes like not talk negatively about like the teacher world on Instagram, because I find it often it gives teachers unrealistic expectations of like what their classroom should look like and what they should be doing all the time. But I think there's also like a real benefit to it in that it gives you really great ideas and like you can take an idea that you find on Instagram and then adapt it to what you can do in your own classroom. I always get tons of ideas for like lessons. I've chosen unit topics based on teachers I've seen on social media. You can go on Instagram, on Pinterest, on YouTube. There's teacher Facebook groups you can go to. Shameless plug if you want to join my Facebook group. It's the Elementary ELA Teacher Support Group. Please join that if you're interested, and people will always be willing to share ideas with you. The fourth way that you can get some topic ideas is to research it on Google. So I talked about social media, but you can also be Googling it. So even if you search something like if you're a grade 4 teacher, you could Google grade 4 unit topics. And I recommend doing an image search on Google. So if you go to images, there'll be tons and tons of ideas for you there. I'm sure there's even like lists that people have created of unit topic ideas. And then the final tip I have for you is to really like, hey, Milton, no. To really brainstorm your own experience as, hang on. Sorry, he was chewing a teddy bear. So the last tip I have is to really reflect. And this kind of goes with the brain dump that I mentioned earlier, but like really, like you were a student at one point. So like what were some units that you learned about that really stuck out to you? Because chances are if they stuck out to you, it was for good reasons. And it really like stuck with you because it was a great unit and a great lesson that really resonated with you. So I would say like that's something that might be worth exploring. Now on the flip side of that, I would also make sure that especially like I was an elementary student like 25 years ago. So I would want to make sure that whatever topic, if something really stuck out with me when I was in like grade 4, let's say, I'd want to make sure it's something that's relevant to students today, because I always want to make sure what I'm doing in the classroom is relevant to them. So just to go over the points I mentioned. So 1 is to brain dump. 2 is to listen to your students. 3 is to use social media to your advantage. Number 4 is to research. So that's when I said the Google image. And then finally to reflect. So those are my 5 tips for you. I would also say though, as I mentioned, like some teachers don't have the liberty of choosing their unit topics. So before you go ahead and start planning, I would definitely check in with your school and make sure that this is even an option for you. It might be that your school has a strict curriculum that they need to stick to and they have specific topics that you need to cover. So that's it. Those are the 5 tips I suggest for you. I hope this was helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments what points resonated with you, what questions you have, and I'd be more than happy to answer them as soon as possible. So I hope you have a great day. I'm going to be going live again on my page on Thursday at 6 p.m. So I will see you then. Have a great day. Bye.